morning. Today I'm going to talk about my impressions on Microsoft Build 2025 event for Excel users. But before I start, let me give you a brief about what is Microsoft Build. Microsoft Build started first time in 2011. It is an annual conference for developers. What they do in these events is they announce new products and they told about latest AI innovation like Copilot, which was showcased across products. Please don't get overwhelmed with this information. This is just to give you a background of what we are going to learn about in this video. So just listen to it and don't try to think about it too much. Essential knowledge which is required for tech professionals to enter the corporate world. And that is the reason I am covering this topic in this video. Now, before I start the highlights, I just wanted to share that I will include the important links of the Microsoft website which covered the Build 2025 updates in the description of the video. And I'll also include the link of the original video from Microsoft website so that you can go and watch that video in details. Now, let's move ahead with highlights. First, I observed that some sections of the events focused on usability and features enhancement in productivity tools like Microsoft Excel. I'll share those snippets with you in this video. They also gave an overview of Microsoft 365 Copilot. They talked about AI-powered developments across Microsoft 365 tools, which can change how we interact with Excel. Microsoft 365 Copilot is integrated with chat, search, notebooks, create, and agents. Additionally, they also introduced Analyst Agent. Analyst Agent can work with raw data from source, including Excel files, to deliver understanding, make predictions, and visualize knowledge. They also talked about Copilot in Power BI, which is a separate data analysis tool but usually used with Excel. Copilot in Power BI would enable chat-based data exploration across reports efficiently. Now let's see and talk about what they shared. So this is the first clipping which I'm going to show you, and I'll pause in between to share my thoughts on this.
Let's talk about the platform opportunity of Microsoft 365. I'm very excited about the latest update to Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is now generally available. It's really exciting to see this. You know, this is the biggest update. In fact, if you think about, like, I don't think since Teams launched, we've had an update of this level. And it really brings together chat, search, notebooks, create, and agents all into this one scaffolding that's intuitive. Right? I always say this is the UI for AI.
So in this section, what Satya Nadella means is that going forward, we will be able to use Microsoft Copilot as a user interface for AI. And since they have integrated multiple sections of Microsoft 365 like chat, search, and agents and others, we'll be able to use all of these through just one window, which is the Copilot, by asking it the right questions.
And chat, for example, is grounded both on web data as well as your work data, and that's the game changer.
So this is very significant that since now chat has been only integrated with the web data, but now what they are saying is that the work related data which is on your system, on the company environment, that will also be able to interact with the Copilot.
Especially with pages. Search works across all of your applications, right? Whether it's Confluence or Google Drive or Jira or ServiceNow, not just M365 data. With notebooks.
So I don't know if you noticed, but actually, if you search anything in your Windows as well, it is able to search the content from within your files as well. So if you search, let's suppose admissions, and if admission is mentioned anywhere in the Word document, then that Word document would also show up. And if the admission keyword is in any of the presentations or any of the Excel as well, then that would also show up. So this was already there. Now they have integrated search with more non-Microsoft products as well.
I can now create these heterogeneous collections of data, right? In fact, I can have chats and pages and any documents, emails, all in that collection. And then, in fact, I can get all these audio reviews or podcasts out of it.
So this is very significant. What he is telling is that once all the data is integrated, which they would integrate into Notebook, there is a new feature which they will bring in. After that, you will be able to get an updates in the form of audio transcript or kind of a podcast from your files as well. So this would definitely include Excel files also. So just imagine if you have very large amount of data inside your Excel file and you want to see that what that data covers, you will be able to listen to that through the Copilot, and he is telling that maybe you can create a podcast out of it as well.
I can use Create, to turn a PowerPoint into a new explainer video or generate an image. And when it comes to agents, we have a couple.
So this was one section which I wanted to tell you about how this may change the way we interact with Microsoft Excel. Now let me take you to another section.
Lastly, I want to talk about one of my favorite features now, which is coming to Power BI, which is Copilot in Power BI. So that allows you to chat with all of your data. You can ask questions about data, visually explore, analyze it across multiple Power BI reports and semantic models.
So here I just want to highlight, you might have heard about Power BI. Microsoft Excel is a step before Power BI. So what Power BI does is it works on the data which you can also manipulate and you can also analyze using Microsoft Excel. But when the data is automated and the data flow is happening automatically from the backend and the amount of data which is very, very large, then Power BI can be used to transform that data into analyzable information. And through this enhancement which they have brought, now Copilot would be able to work with Power BI. Let's see what else he has to say.
It'll also be available. This agent will be available in Microsoft 365 Copilot. So the power of all the work you did, right, building out those semantic models, building out those dashboards in Power BI, and now being able to put reasoning models on top of it in a chat interface. I mean, think about sort of what a game changer that will be. And so we are very, very excited about that.
So this is what he shared about how Copilot is going to integrate with Power BI. So first and foremost, the good thing is that all of these things are built on Microsoft Excel or any other Microsoft software or tool. What this means is that if you already know how to use these tools, the Copilot or any other new feature which they have introduced would build upon on that. What it means is that it would, let's suppose if you ask Copilot to do anything, it will still create the formula. It will put that formula in the cell and then it will generate results. Similarly, if you want it to create a chart, it will create the formula required to create the chart and then it will, do the analysis and then link the chart, connect with it. Now, the thing about Microsoft Excel or the knowledge of Microsoft Excel is that if you start thinking that, okay, now this is the future and this is where I want to go and I don't want to learn anything in Microsoft Excel, that will not be the most beneficial thing for you. The reason for that is because even if these automatic tools they do something for you, even then you need to know that how the basic formula is working, so that if there is anything which you need to change in that formula or you need to audit if the formula which Copilot has applied is applied correctly or not, all those things you would be able to do only and only when you know Microsoft Excel. Additionally, one skill which would be required for using Copilot or any of these AI enabled tools is that you would need to develop the skill of interacting with these tools, which means that if you are in office, you would need to get into practice of typing very fast and correct with correct spellings. Or if you are working from a private space, then you can use voice commands as well. But that is also a skill that you would need to develop to give instructions very, very clearly and in a systematic manner. But if you know Excel, or if you know the tools that how they work on ground, maybe what you could do is that you can take some help from Copilot to develop the initial structure, but the small tweaks and customizations that you need to do to make the data your own, in your own style, in your own design, or as per your own requirement to whatever the boss has asked, that you would be able to do very, very easily. So this is the point which I wanted to emphasize, that yes, AI is coming, Copilot is there, and they would be able to generate the analysis. Even then, you need to focus on upskilling yourself and knowing the basics, right, of how to use a software, or how to understand the formula, how to audit the formula, how the connections are made. All those things you need to understand well, so that the Copilot can become an assistant to you. So with this thought, I would end this video. Thank you for watching.